Oh no.
I'm going to stick with this.
Why? Why?
This is one of the greatest photos of Connor ever.
When graduation photos go wrong.
Oh my god.
Okay, well, I think we are now live by the looks of it. So, guys, welcome to the Easter 2020 Sportscar Worldwide quiz. But before the fun starts, the motorsport world has been deeply saddened to learn today of the passing of Sir Stirling Moss at the age of 90 after a long illness. Sir Stirling was widely regarded as one of the greatest Formula One drivers never to win a world championship. Began his racing career in 1948. Many of us in the Sportscar Worldwide community would have been present at Le Mans in 2011 when Sir Stirling announced, after stepping out of his car following qualifying for the Le Mans Legends race, that he had finally retired from racing at the age of 81. Sir Stirling competed at the Great Race on 10 occasions between 1951 and 1961, winning his class and finishing second overall in 1956 in the Aston Martin alongside Peter Collins. Sir Stirling won 212 of the 529 races he entered and finished second in the Formula One Drivers' Championship on 4 occasions. Sir Jackie Stewart, speaking today, said, "He walked like a racing driver should walk, he talked like a racing driver, he looked like a racing driver, and he set a standard that I think has been unmatched since he retired. I can personally think of no finer eulogy." Gentlemen, Sportscar Worldwide would like to pause for a minute's silence to pay our respects for a driver for whom the word legend does not come close to describing his impact on the sport we love. Thank you very much. Okay, so today, in the true spirit of endurance, we have a maximum 2-hour 10 rounds of questions at 9 o'clock. And I've got the contestants divided into 5 teams. So Team Areka, we've got Gary and John. Team Porsche, Connor and David Edwards. Team Audi, Sean and David Raleigh. Team Ford, Mark and Matthew. And Team Ferrari, Robert and Sean Randall. So before we get going, perhaps we could do a few introductions. So Team Areka, Gary and John, could you just say hello, introduce yourselves and tell us where you're from?
John, I'm in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. It's about 80 miles west of New York City and 40 miles north of Philadelphia. Longtime IMSA fan.
Hi, my name's Gary, come from Nantwich, just sunny Nantwich in the UK. Looking forward to tonight.
Brilliant. And Team Porsche, Connor and David.
I'm Connor, coming from Newry in County Down in Northern Ireland. Long time F1 fan and also long time sports car and racing fan in general.
Hi, I'm David, reporting from a sunny Shropshire in the UK. Again, like Connor, been a long-time fan of motorsport in general and sports car racing. So very much looking forward to seeing how well or badly we do tonight.
Woo!
Team Audi, Sean Cooney and David, say hi.
Hi,
Hi,
I'm
I'm Sean.
David. Oh, well, go. You get first then. Go on, Sean. Lead us off.
After you, go after you. Hi, I'm Sean. I'm from Brighton, long time F1 and WEC fan. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, and I'm David. I'm coming today from the Wirral, which is not Liverpool, and yeah, I too am a long time motorsport and mostly endurance racing fan.
Brilliant. And Team Ford, Mark and Matthew.
Hi, I'm Mark Granger. Been a motorsport fan for about 30 years or so now, along with Mr. Chicken, and currently calling in from North Hertfordshire, it's just north of Stevenage, if you know the UK.
Matt from Dover, down on the southeast coast of Kent. Lovely sunny day down here. Been a motorsport fan pretty much all my life, since my dad first took me to Brands Hatch way back in the 1970s.
And finally, tiny Team Ferrari, Robert and Sean Randall.
I'm Robert Stevens from Pflugerville, Texas, right outside of Austin, Texas. Lucky enough to have a pretty nice racing track in our backyard out here, and I've enjoyed, really got into sports car racing probably within the last 15 years. I've always been a IndyCar fan, and also got my start watching racing on high bank dirt tracks up in East Texas. So lucky enough to have seen a lot of different kinds of racing. And, it's all fun to me, and get to meet a lot of nice people. And I'm going to let Sean carry the load in this quiz, because I'm not that familiar with a whole lot of background on sports car racing, but that's why I got a teammate here.
Yeah, thanks for that. I'm Sean from Daventry in the UK. Obviously an avid sports car fan and Le Mans attendee. I'm eternally grateful to Andy for taking the burden of doing this quiz so that I didn't have to do another one after last year's. Thanks, mate.
Brilliant. Okay, so the format of this evening is as follows. I will ask a question, obviously. The two teammates will confer with each other through a messaging service, WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, and one of you will write the answer down. We will work through that format on all 10 questions. When we finish the round, we will then mark that round. I will approach each team in turn, looking for an answer, but of course you'll all be marking your answer sheets at the same time. When we finish the round, I'll collate all the scores onto a spreadsheet, and we'll move on to the next, and we will go through the same process. So the first round is called Who Am I? Now I'm going to give you 5 or 6 facts without trying to be too obvious about who I'm talking about, and you have to name the driver. Okay, so here we go. Question 1. I was born in Peckham in 1935. My driving career started in rallying. I won the Monte Carlo Rally in 1968. At Le Mans in 1972, I stopped mid-race to save a driver in a burning Ferrari, an act for which I was honoured by the French government. My final race was at Le Mans my final race at Le Mans was in 1974, and I was a central figure in the 1972 documentary The Speed Merchants. Who am I?
Hey, Gary, I just texted you on Messenger.
Does anybody want me to read any of those clues out again?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay. We'll go from the top. I was born in Peckham in 1935. My driving career started in rallying. I won the Monte Carlo Rally in 1968. At Le Mans in 1972, I stopped mid-race to save a driver in a burning Ferrari, an act for which I was honoured by the French government. My final race at Le Mans was in 1974, and I was a central figure in the 1972 documentary The Speed Merchants. Okay, we're going to go on to question 2 now. Question 2. I was born in 1945. My father was a motoring journalist. My driving career began on motorcycles before I started racing Lotus Cortinas, winning my domestic saloon car championship in 1965. I made my Formula One debut with Ken Tyrrell and drove for Ferrari, Brabham, Lotus and Wolf in Formula One. I retired in 1985. This is a prominent sports car driver.
Do you mind reading that one more time?
I'll go through that again. Here we go. I was born in 1945. My father was a motoring journalist. My driving career began on motorcycles before I started racing Lotus Cortinas, winning my domestic saloon car championship in 1965. I made my Formula One debut with Ken Tyrrell and drove for Ferrari, Brabham, Lotus and Wolf in Formula One. I retired in 1985. Okay, we're going to move on to question 3. I was born in 1967. My Le Mans victories have been with 2 manufacturers, Audi and Bentley. I hold the record for the most wins at the 12 Hours of Sebring. I was test driver for Tyrrell in their final Formula One season. And in 2004, I equaled a long-standing motorsport record. So, excuse me, I'll read those again. I was born in 1967. My Le Mans victories have been with 2 manufacturers, Audi and Bentley. I hold the record for the most wins at the 12 Hours of Sebring. I was the test driver for Tyrrell in their final Formula One season. And in 2004, I equaled a long-standing motorsport record. Okay, question 4. I am 55 years old. My first major championship victory came in 1990 when I won the Italian Super Turismo Championship in a VW Golf. I took the first podium for Audi in the modern era at Sebring in 99, alongside teammates Michele Alboreto and Stefan Johansson. I was part of the driver lineup that gave a manufacturer its first victory in 73 years at Le Mans. I took my final win at Le Mans in 2008. And I retired from prototype racing in 2012. I'll read those again. I'm 55 years old. My first major championship victory came in 1990 when I won the Italian Super Turismo Championship in a VW Golf. I took the first podium for Audi in the modern era at Sebring in 99, alongside Michele Alboreto and Stefan Johansson. I was part of the driver lineup that gave a manufacturer its first victory in 73 years at Le Mans. I took my final Le Mans victory in 2008, and I retired from prototype racing in 2012. Okay, question 5. I was born in the UK in 1950. I began my racing career in 1980, driving a Chevron B19. I was part of a team that won the World Sports Car Championship 3 times in the 1980s, 2 of them consecutively. I then raced in the British Touring Car Championship and founded Team Dynamics with Steve Neal. I won the BPR Global GT Series in '96, driving one of the most beautifully liveried McLaren F1s ever raced. And I owned and ran Grand Prix racewear at Silverstone. So, born in the UK in 1950, began racing career in 1980, was part of a team that won the World Sports Car C2 Championship 3 times in the 1980s, 2 of them consecutively. I then raced in the British Touring Car Championship, founding Team Dynamics with Steve Neal. I won the BPR Global GT Series in '96 in a McLaren F1 in a very distinctive livery. And I owned and ran Grand Prix racewear at Silverstone. So, question 6. I started my race team in the late 1970s in British Formula 3. I moved into sports car racing in 1987, helping Sauber Mercedes win Le Mans in '89. I ran the Nissan sports car program until I moved to Brabham F1 in '91. I ran a McLaren F1 GTR, finishing 3rd at Le Mans in '95. I ran the European factory team for panels in '97. I ran an A1 Grand Prix team for A1 Team USA in 2005 and 2006. I'll go through those again.
Yeah.
I started my race team in the late 1970s in British Formula 3. I moved into sports car racing in 1987, helping Sauber Mercedes win Le Mans in '89. I ran the Nissan sports car program until I moved to Brabham F1 in '91. I ran a McLaren F1 GTR, finishing 3rd at Le Mans in '95. I ran the European factory team for panels in '97. And I ran an A1 GP team for A1 Team USA in 2005 and 2006. So 3 more questions to go to complete round 1. So question 8. I made my Le Mans debut behind the commentator's mic in 2008. I have covered leading European and world sports car championships. I can often be heard providing circuit commentary around the UK. I am an ardent supporter of a football team in the Northwest. I'll read those again. I made my Le Mans debut behind the commentator's mic in 2008. I have covered leading European and global endurance racing championships. I can often be heard providing circuit commentary around the UK. And I'm an ardent supporter of a football team in the Northwest.
If you don't get that one, Randall, you're in trouble.
Okay, final 2 questions. I was born in 1946 and passed away at the age of 64. My racing career began in 1968 behind the wheel of an MG Midget. I established my race team in 1976 and competed in a BMW 3.5 CSL with John Fitzpatrick. I am probably best known for my successful, very successful association with an established British manufacturer. I was appointed engineering director of an F1 team in 1991, and my company went into liquidation in 2002. So, I was born in 1946 and passed away at the age of 64. My racing career began in 1968. I established my race team in 1976 and competed in a BMW 3.5 CSL with John Fitzpatrick. I'm probably best known for my successful association with an established British manufacturer. I was appointed engineering director of an F1 team in 91, and my company went into liquidation in 2002. And the final question, question 10. I was born in 1942. I competed at Le Mans over 30 times. I retired from racing at the age of 57. My last F1 team before focusing on sports cars was Surtees BS Fabrications. My team campaigned a Courage C60 for 5 seasons, and I am a keen helicopter pilot. Born in 1942, competed at Le Mans over 30 times. I retired from racing at the age of 57. My last F1 team before focusing on sports cars was Surtees. My team campaigned a Courage C60 for 5 seasons, and I am a keen helicopter pilot. That. Okay, so let us start from the top and get some answers. So, Team Orica, Gary and John. Question 1. Who was that?
Vic Elford.
That was Vic Elford.
Hey, we're leading.
Yeah.
Excellent. Who else got that right?
Yep.
Yeah, good.
Oh.
Okay. Question 2, Team Porsche, Connor and David. Who was that?
Complete guess from us. We think it was Jody Scheckter.
It was not Jody Scheckter. Anybody else?
Damn.
I put Piers Courage.
It was not Piers Courage.
Jackie X.
It was Jackie X, most certainly. Born in Brussels in 1945, retired in 85, 6 times Le Mans winner.
Go on, Sean.
Excellent. Three, and David. Who was number 3?
You've written it down, Sean. I think you do.
Tom Christensen.
It was Tom Christensen. Yeah, Mr. Le Mans himself.
Yep,
retired at the end of the 2014 season. Excellent. Question 4, Team Ford, Mark and Matthew. Who was number 4?
We think it's Dindo Capello.
It was Dindo Capello, dead right. Yeah, won Le Mans in 2003, 2004, 2008, and took 5 over
for the last one.
Brilliant. Okay. Question 5, Team Ferrari, Robert and Sean Randall. Who did you think number 5 was?
I thought it was Ray Bell.
It is Ray Bell. Well done.
Yeah, we had that.
Anybody? Excellent. Well done.
Yeah, we did.
Excellent. Okay, going back to Team Oreca for number 6. Who did you think that was?
Gary?
No, passed on that one. Sorry, Andy.
Yeah.
Well,
anybody else?
We wrote down Dave Price.
Yeah, I put Dave Price.
Yeah.
It was David Price.
We've got Dave Price on them.
There you go.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. And Team Porsche, Connor and David. Who was number 7?
I don't know. I don't have the clues written down for this. What were the clues for this one? I seem to have missed a question.
Okay. I'm sorry. I think I've missed. I do beg your pardon. I think I've missed this one. Okay. So, I don't know quite how I managed to do that. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to give you the questions for give you the clues for number 7.
Right.
Give you a couple of minutes, and then we'll go for the answer. Okay. I revived an established British name in 1986. The race car I developed would use the largest V12 ever fitted to a production car. I won the FIA GT Championship in 2000. I sold the company in 2013. I was renowned for my hands-on approach and regarded as a larger-than-life character. I was the central character in a semi-fictionalized book published in 2019 of An Assault on Le Mans. So, I revived an established British name in 1986. The race car I developed would use the largest V12 ever fitted to a production car. It was a 7-litre unit derived from the Jaguar XJR9. I won the FIA GT Championship in 2000. I sold the company in 2013. I was renowned for my hands-on approach and was regarded as a larger-than-life character. And I was the central character in a semi-fictionalized book published in 2019 of An Assault on Le Mans. I'll give you a couple of minutes and then I'll ask you for the answer.
Did you get that, John?
Okay, so Connor and David, who did you think that was?
We have Julian Bailey.
It was not Julian Bailey. Anybody else?
Lawrence Pierce.
It was Lawrence Pierce. Well done, Sean. Okay. Question 8 goes to Team Audi, Sean and David. Who was number 8?
Johnny Palmer.
It was Johnny Palmer. Well done. Everybody else get that?
Yeah.
Good. And question 9 goes to Team Ford, Mark and Matthew. Who was number 9?
As a wild stab in the dark, we think it's Charlie Lamb.
It was not Charlie Lamb. Anybody else?
I have no idea on that.
Tom Walkinshaw?
It was Tom Walkinshaw. Well done, Connor. Well done.
Get in.
The last one, number 10, goes to Team Ferrari. See if you can put one forward on that. Who was number 10?
Robert?
Go for it.
Henri Pescarolo.
Henri Pescarolo. Well done. Yeah,
Good
excellent. So that concludes round 1. So if you could add up your scores, whoever is tallying the scores in your particular team.
We got 5, Andy.
I got 4.
You got 4.
So Team Ferrari have got 5, Robert and Sean. Who's got 4?
Team Orica.
Who, sorry?
John and Gary.
John and Gary have got, was it 4?
4, yes. Yeah, 4, Andy.
4. Okay,
Sean.
Connor and David?
Yeah, we've got 4 as well.
4. Sean and David Raleigh? 5?
Yep. 5.
Okay. And Team Ford, Mark and Matthew?
8.
8. Well done. Well, 4 going to an immediate lead there. Well done. Okay.
Curious, was that the easy round?
We were sandbagging in qualifying.
Yeah. Right. I'm gonna head off now. See you later.
There are some quite easy questions coming up, so don't worry about that. I'm surprised. I thought you'd have all got those dead easy. Yeah. Okay, so question 2, round 2 rather. Motor racing quotations. Now I'm going to read out a quotation from a driver. Some of these are famous quotations that you should get. Some of these you may have to work out from the information contained in the quotation who it is. Others you might have to take a wild guess at.
Pardon me.
Here we go. So round 2, motor racing quotations. Quotation 1. Ayrton has a problem. He thinks he can't kill himself because he believes in God. I think that is very dangerous for the other drivers. So that's the first question. Ayrton has a problem. He thinks he can't kill himself because he believes in God. I think he's very dangerous for the other drivers. Quotation 2. I never had any financial support or sponsors, so I always had to, at every level, prove myself the hard way. I was 5 years in Japan before I got my debut at Le Mans. I think this is a humble way to get through as a racing driver. I never had any financial support or sponsors, so I always had to, at every level, prove myself the hard way. I was 5 years in Japan before I got my debut at Le Mans, and I think this is a humble way to get through as a racing driver. Number 3. Now this is a driver speaking at Le Mans in 2019. I always wondered why Dad never drove at Le Mans, but now I know, because it was bloody dangerous in those cars and before they had the chicanes. Those cars were absolute death trap, but I think now, with modern safety, I'm sure he would have done it. Dad loved racing, and I'm sure he would have absolutely loved to have driven at Le Mans if the safety was there.
Andy, could you just repeat that one again, please?
Yeah, sure. So this is a young driver speaking at Le Mans in 2019. I always wondered why Dad never drove at Le Mans, but now I know, because it was bloody dangerous in those cars and before they had the chicanes. Those cars were absolute death traps, but I think now, with modern safety, I'm sure he would have done it. Dad loved racing, and I'm sure he would have absolutely loved to have driven at Le Mans if the safety was there.
What do you mean?
Okay, we're going to move on to number 4 now. The first thing, when I got the money, I knew I would support somebody. And the person I supported was my family, because we were really in debt with the money. And so I gave to my father this suitcase full of money, and he couldn't believe it. And that was something very special. That quote again. The first thing, when I got the money, I knew I would support somebody. And the person I supported was my family, because we were really in debt with the money. And so I gave to my father this suitcase full of money, and he couldn't believe it. And that was something very special. Okay, quotation number 5. I am an artist. The track is my canvas and the car is my brush. I am an artist. The track is my canvas and the car is my brush. Number 6. Winning is everything. The only ones who remember you when you come second are your wife and your dog. So number 6, winning is everything. The only ones who remember you when you come second are your wife and your dog.
These are famous quotes, right?
Kind of. Right, number 7. Now, this is probably going to have more relevance for enthusiasts of the British domestic series. And you'll need to listen because all the clues as to who said this are in this quotation. I didn't expect to be on the front row at Spa, and I didn't expect to win it. but it was a combination of a reasonably good lap from me and a great lap from Max that got us on the front row. I had a right word with myself as I crossed the start line on the next lap, and then it all started to come together and my lap times dropped. I reeled in the Nissan and Ian Loggy really quickly. The next time round, Flick was pointing in the wrong direction at Lake Combe. All the while, I have no radio contact. Our radios failed, and so we're going by pit boards.
Can you repeat that, Andy?
Yeah, I will do. I didn't expect to be on the front row at Spa, and I didn't expect to win it. But it was a combination of a reasonably good lap from me and a great lap from Max that got us on the front row. I had a right word with myself as I crossed the start line on the next lap, and then it all started to come together and my lap times dropped. I reeled in the Nissan and Ian Loggy really quickly. The next time round, Flick was pointing in the wrong direction at Lake Combe. All the while, I have no radio contact. Our radios fail, so we're going by pit boards. Three more to go. So this is number 8. My last race was at Le Mans in 2000. My first race is in 1959. So I dodged a lot of bullets along the way, I can tell you that. My last race was at Le Mans in 2000. My first race was in 1959. So I dodged a lot of bullets along the way, I can tell you that. Now, again, this one, you'll need to listen because all the clues as to who this is are in this quotation. Ayrton was awesome. We became very good friends. Everybody knew he was a special guy. To tell you what kind of guy he was, the next race was Portugal. He had a press conference and said how unfairly I was treated, and I was one of his best teammates he ever had, and he saw what happened. People love to say that, and I think Ron liked to use it as an excuse. I spent 1 or 2 months in the heat of it over there. I could be there in 6 hours because of Concord, and I never let myself go off time. I always stayed on European time when I was in the US. I could get to Woking almost as quickly as Ayrton could living in Monaco. And so,
Andy, could you repeat that again, please?
Ayrton was awesome. Yep, going through it.
Hey.
Ayrton was awesome. We became very good friends. Everybody knew he was a special guy. To tell you what kind of guy he was, the next race was Portugal. He had a press conference and said how unfairly I was treated and that I was one of the best teammates he ever had. He was really behind me and saw what happened. People love to say that, and I think Ron liked to use it as an excuse. I spent 1 or 2 months in the heat of it over there. I could be there in 6 hours because of Concord, and I never let myself go off the time. I always stayed on European time when I was in the US. I could get to Woking almost as quickly as Ayrton could living in Monaco.
Thank you.
And number 10, the last quotation. I'm just beginning to wonder if I want to be world champion. There will be so much fuss and drama. Farming is my real occupation and racing is just a hobby, although I make a serious effort at it. And that quotation again. I'm just beginning to wonder if I want to be world champion. There will be so much fuss and drama. Farming is my real occupation and racing is just a hobby, although I make a serious effort at it. Those are the 10 quotations. So let's start at the top and do what we did before. Let's start with Gary and John. Number 1. Who said that?
I'll go with Prost.
Alain Prost. Correct.
Yeah.
Well done. Number 2, Connor and David. Who said that?
We've got nothing for number 2.
No. Anybody anything for number 2?
Perry McCarthy.
Wasn't Perry McCarthy.
Eddie
Tom
Irvine.
Christensen.
Who?
Eddie
Tom
Irvine.
Christensen.
Did somebody just say Tom Christensen?
Yes.
Yeah, that is correct. That was Tom Christensen.
Oh,
Well done. Number 3. Anybody got any idea about number 3?
Nicola Prost.
It was not the son of Prost. No, it was the son of another famous
Lauda.
Formula.
Lauda, Matthias Lauda.
It was not Matthias Lauda.
No.
But you're very, very close.
Was it James Hunt's son?
It was James Hunt's son, Freddie. Yeah. Speaking as he was competing in the Michelin Le Mans Cup Road to Le Mans race at Le Mans last year.
Also,
Well done. Okay. So, Team Toyota, Robert and Mark. Number 4. Who do you think said that? Somebody who made an awful lot of money in Formula One.
Hamilton.
It was not Hamilton.
Okay.
Mansell?
It was not Mansell.
Oh.
Okay. It was, in fact, 7-time Formula One world champion, Michael Schumacher.
Oh,
Yeah. I heard of him.
Right. Number 5, Mark and Matthew. Who said, I'm an artist, the track is my canvas?
No idea. We've taken a wild stab in the dark. Nicky Lauda.
It was not Nicky Lauda.
It was
Somebody
Graham
other
Hill.
than that.
Graham Hill.
It was Graham Hill. Well done. Who got that?
Yeah, we got that.
Got it as well.
Yeah, well done. Okay. Who said, winning is everything? The only ones who remember you when you come second are your wife and your dog.
It was Graham Hill's son, Damon Hill.
It was Graham Hill's son, Damon. Well done. Yeah.
Cool.
Number 7. That was quite a wordy quotation, but all the clues were in it. Who said that?
We took a very wild stab in the dark at Bernd Schneider.
It was not Bernd Schneider.
Okay.
We took
Johnny
an
Give it.
important stab in the dark of Bob Berridge.
It was not Bob Berridge.
We took a stab in the dark as well, and Nicky T.
Not Nicky Team. I'll tell you who it was. That was Graham Davidson, describing how he won at Le Mans in his 2018 British GT season. Maxime Martin. And the clues were 2018 because it was Flick Haig and Ian Loggy. It was a win at Spa with Maxime Martin, Graham Davidson. Okay. Don't know where we've got to on that. Philip and Sean, who said, my last race was at Le Mans in 2000, my first in 1959, so I dodged a lot of bullets along the way, I can tell you that. Who said that?
You, Robert.
David Hobbs.
No.
Brian Redmond.
No.
He's not that old.
It was Mario Andretti.
No.
Oh.
Huh.
Number 9. We'll go back to Gary and John for number 9. That was quite lengthy, but again, all the clues were in the quotation. Who said that?
Thinking, talking about Michael Andretti.
That was Michael Andretti after his disastrous season in the early 90s with McLaren, falling out with Ron Dennis. And Connor, David, question 10.
We think it's Jim Clark.
It was Jim Clark. Well done. Yeah, farming was probably the giveaway. Brilliant. Well done. So if you could just tot up your scores, please, guys.
That won't take long.
Yeah.
We had 10.
Yeah, we had 11, John.
I'll put us down for 2.
That question about the suitcase full of money, I thought it was Vic Lee.
Could have been. Could have been.
Could have been
Right,
one of the
so-
Wilkinson brothers.
Oh, exactly. Could have been there. So, Team Orica, Gary and John, what did you get on that round?
2.
You got 2. Okay. Connor and David, Team Porsche, what did you get?
We got 5.
Wow.
5. Okay. And Team Audi, Sean and David, what did you score?
3.
3. Team Ford, Mark and Matthew?
We've got 4.
4. And Team Ferrari, Robert and Sean, what did you get?
Yeah, we got 2.
2.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will do some running scores after the next round, but I'm pretty sure that Team Ford, Mark and Matthew, are currently leading on 12 points, with Team Porsche, Connor and David on 9.
We're not last.
Well done.
Take it and run, take it and run.
Round 3 is the prancing horse, or questions about Ferrari. So here we go. And some of these are quite easy. For which manufacturer did Scuderia Ferrari prepare and field cars for before entering cars under its own name? For which manufacturer did Scuderia Ferrari prepare and field cars for before entering cars under its own name? Question 2. In what year did Ferrari reach 100 victories in Formula One? In what year did Ferrari reach 100 victories in Formula One? Question 3. To which manufacturer did Enzo Ferrari once famously remark, "You stick to making tractors, I'll stick to making cars"? Said manufacturer went on to become a supercar and sports car manufacturer themselves. And he remarked, "Stick to making tractors, I'll stick to making cars." Question 4. 1998 was the last time we saw the Ferrari 333 SP on the grid for Le Mans. How many Ferrari 333 SPs were there on the grid for the 98 running of Le Mans? I'll give you a clue. It was less than 6.
That's a big clue.
So how many Ferrari 333 SPs were on the grid for the 98 running of Le Mans? The last time a Ferrari prototype finished at Le Mans. Question 5. In Steve McQueen's film Le Mans, 1971, what was the name of the leading fictional Ferrari driver who competed against Steve McQueen's character, Michael Delaney?
Both names or just a surname?
I'll take just the surname. Yeah.
Wants the middle name from you as well, Sean.
He's
So
last
the name-
number, so he's still have a bit of leeway.
Oh, I got the first name and all anyway, so I've just come to me.
Question 6. In what race did the Ferrari 458 Italia take its final bow in factory-backed competition before it was overtaken by the turbocharged Ferrari F488? In what race did the Ferrari 458 Italia take its final bow in factory-backed competition before the turbocharged Ferrari F488 took over? And for a bonus point, what was the last outing for the Ferrari F458 LMGTE in European Le Mans Series competition?
You repeat that again, please, Andy.
What was the last outing for the Ferrari F458 in European Le Mans Series competition?
I just answered that as the main question. Whoops.
Question 7. How many times have Ferrari won the Formula One Constructors' Championship? How many times have Ferrari won the Formula One Constructors' Championship?
Sorry, you said Constructors' Championship, didn't you, Andy?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Question 8. Jackie Ickx drove for Ferrari in Formula One between 1970 to 1973. Who were his driving teammates during that time? And I'll give you 1 point for every person that you can. There were 4 drivers who were his teammates during that time.
What years again, Andy?
1970, 71, 72, and 73. He drove with 4 other drivers as his teammate. Question 9. James Collado and Alessandro Pierguidi of AF Corsa came second in the World Endurance Championship GTE Drivers' Championship in the 2018-19 Super Season. This is LMGTE Pro. They took 2 victories in that season. This is the 18-19 Super Season. Where were those victories? And question 10, if you know, you know, and if you don't, you're never going to get it. What colour was the ink that Enzo Ferrari famously used to write his signature? The colour of the ink that Enzo Ferrari famously used to write his signature. Okay, so let's start at the top as we did before. Team Orica, Gary and John. Question
Alpha?
1.
Sorry.
Alfa Romeo, well done. That was a fairly straightforward one.
Waiting for an easy one, Andy.
Yeah.
Was it?
Question 2 is Alfa Romeo was the answer to that. Question 2. In what year did Ferrari reach 100 victories in Formula One?
I think it was 1990.
It was 1990. Well done. It was Alain Prost at the French Grand Prix. Got their 100th victory. Well done.
I knew it was late 80s or early 90s, so I went bang in the fence, in the middle of the fence.
Excellent. Well
We're
done.
only 28 years out.
We were more than that.
Question 3. I'll direct this at Sean and David in Team Audi. To which manufacturer did Enzo Ferrari once famously stick to making tractors, I'll stick to making cars? Who was that?
What?
It was not Ford.
Is it Lamborghini?
It was Lamborghini. It was Ferruccio Lamborghini, who then took umbrage.
The reason I know that is because we have someone just down the road from us who has a Lamborghini tractor.
Ah, fantastic. Okay, question 4, going to Team Ford, Mark and Matthew. How many Ferrari 333s SPs were on the grid for the 98 Le Mans?
4.
4. Well done indeed. The Doyle Risi, the Moretti Racing, Pilot Racing,
4.
and Jabouille Porsche. 4. Well done. Question 5, going to Team Ferrari, Robert and Sean. What was the name of the leading fictional Ferrari driver who competed against Steve McQueen's character, Michael Delaney?
Eric Stahler.
Eric Stahler, well done, played by Siegfried Rausch.
Rouse. I knew Rouse. Does that count? The actor?
No.
Or you want the character name?
You want the character name? Yeah.
F points?
Eric Stahler.
All right.
Question 6, going back to the top, Gary and John. When did the Ferrari 458 Italia take its final factory-backed bow in competition?
Go, Gary.
2016?
It was not 2016. Anybody?
15?
It was okay.
17.
It took its final bow at the 2015 6 Hours of Bahrain.
Oh, good.
I'll put Bahrain. Do I get a point for that?
I put Bahrain as well.
I thought you asked which track.
Okay, no, I'll give you a point for Bahrain. If you said Bahrain, I'll give you a point for that. The bonus point. What was the last outing for the F458 LMGT in European Le Mans Series competition?
Portimao.
It was not Portimao.
Spa.
It was not Spa.
Monza?
It was JMW's the 4 Hours of Monza in April, because they then switched to the 488.
It made its debut
for Spa. It did. It did.
Who's on the tip
Question 7. How many times have Ferrari won the Formula One Constructors' Championship? Connor and David, Team Porsche.
16 we have written down.
It is 16. Well done.
Brilliant.
I could read them all out, but it would be boring. No, it was 16. Well done. Question 8 goes to Sean and David, Team Audi. Jackie Hicks drove for Ferrari between 1970 and 73. Who were his teammates? They were 4 names that you could have.
We would get this one, wouldn't we? This is the one I was thinking of other stuff. You completely skipped it.
Anybody?
I got
We
some
put Regazzoni on, sorry. Yeah.
Clay Regazzoni is definitely one in 1970, 71 and 72.
about Michele Alboreto.
Not Michele Alboreto.
Amon?
Not Chris Amon.
Stefan Johansson?
Not Stefan Johansson.
Derek Bell?
Not Derek Bell. The names he drove with were Ignacio Giunti, that you would never have got, but Mario Andretti and Arturo Mazzario in 1973.
Okay.
Right. Let's go to Team Ford again. So Mark and Matthew for question 9. James Collard and Alessandro Perguidi, the 2018-19 Super Season. They came second. They took 2 victories. Where were those victories?
Definitely Le Mans.
Definitely Le Mans. Point for that.
And Bahrain, we think.
It was not Bahrain.
Was it Silverstone?
It was at Silverstone in 2018. Well done. So a point each.
Yeah.
And number 10, does anybody know this? The colour of the ink that Enzo Ferrari used to write his signature.
I
Red.
think I've seen his. I think I've seen his signature in purple.
It
Purple.
was purple. Yeah, famously he used purple ink. I couldn't tell you why, but he did. Well done. So, guys, if you could add up your scores for round 3 at the Prancing Horse, that would be brilliant.
For
Right, so if I could go from the top, Gary and John, Team Orica, what did you get in that round?
6.
6. Well done. Connor and David, Team Porsche, your score?
We got 5.
5. Well done. Team Audi, Sean and David Raleigh, what was your score?
7.
7. Well done.
Brilliant.
Team Ford, Mark and Matthew.
7.
7. Excellent. And the last one, Team Ferrari, Robert and Sean?
4.
4. Okay. So I think leading at the moment is Mark and Matthew, Team Ford on 19, followed by Sean and David, Team Audi on 15. So well done. Okay, we're going to play one more round and then we're going to take a break to get a cup of tea.
Or another beverage.
This round is based on SRO series. So 10 questions based on Stefan Rattel's activities. So, question 1. What year was the first FIA GT1 World Championship raced in? What year was the first FIA GT1 World Championship season?
Are we including BPR in this?
No, this is the first official GT1 World Championship. As taken from the SRO history on their website.
Good.
Question 2. For that inaugural year of the GT1 World Championship, which manufacturers were represented? And I'll give you 1 point for each. Which manufacturers were represented in that inaugural year of the FIA GT1 World Championship? Question 3. Blancpain were the title sponsors of SRO's GT series for how many seasons? Blancpain were the title sponsors of SRO's GT series for how many seasons? Question 4. What was Stefan Rattel's first venture into becoming a racing series organizer prior to starting SRO Motorsports? He ran a one-make series in the early 90s. Question 5. What is the approximate horsepower banding of a GT3 car? From what to what?
Quick to bloody quick.
Doesn't include
lots more.
So the horsepower banding of a GT3 car between what and what?
Could you repeat that question one more time?
Yeah. What is the horsepower banding? They're all balanced. They're all performance balanced. So what is the horsepower banding? Where normally does the horsepower come in of a GT3, a contemporary GT3 car? And to make it easy, you can just produce one number if you like.
Okay.
Question 6. How many cars took the start at the 2019 total 24 hours of Spa? And I give you a variance of plus or minus 5.
Let's have a go.
How many cars took the start at the start of the 2019 total 24 hours of Spa?
Anybody take a handwritten lap chart that day?
All I remember was Nicky Team came from way back when to way forward when.
Yep.
Very quickly now in Nicky Team as well.
That was within the first hour.
Yeah.
Remember the Bentleys went backwards?
The scenery very much went backwards when Nicky Team was driving.
Question 7. The 2019 24 hours of Spa was under a lengthy red flag condition for rain.
Oh, God.
With a variance of plus or minus 15 minutes, how long was the race red flagged for?
I can't remember that, but I can remember it being bloody hot.
It was hot on the Thursday and the Friday, not quite so much on the Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, not Saturday night.
Question 8. 11 manufacturers intend to compete in the 2020 World Challenge Europe schedule. For 1 point each, name those manufacturers.
Sorry, can you repeat that, please?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 manufacturers intend to compete in the 2020 World Challenge Europe schedule at some stage. For 1 point each, name those manufacturers. And question 9, and this is the last question for this round as there were a lot of points available for the previous round. This is the last question. Since 2010, Johnny Adam has been the most successful GT3 driver in British GT with 4 drivers' titles. 2015, 2016, 2018, 2019. Who is the second most successful GT3 driver? So British GT, Johnny Adam, the most successful GT3 driver with 4 titles since 2010. 2015 with Andrew Howard, 2016 Derek Johnston, 2018 Flick Haig, and 2019 Graham Davidson. Who is the second most successful GT3 driver since 2010?
Is this just in British GT or?
Just in British GT, yeah. And that concludes round 4.
Only 9 questions?
There's only 9 questions in that round, because I forgot the 10th one, and there were loads of points available for question 8. So,
Andy, could you just repeat that last one, please, mate?
Yeah, sure. So, British GT, since 2010, Johnny Adam has been the most successful GT3 driver with 4 drivers' titles. 2015 with Andrew Howard, 2016 Derek Johnston, 2018 Flick Haig, and 2019 Graham Davidson. Who is the second most successful GT3 driver in titles since 2010? Okay, so let's do what we did the last time and start at the top. So, Gary and John, Team Orica.
Yes.
What year was the first the first FIA GT1 World Championship raced in?
1997.
No.
Oh. 96.
If it was GT1, it would surely be something like 2008.
The correct answer is 2010.
Oh.
First FIA GT1 World Championship.
We're only off by 13 years, Gary.
Yeah.
Okay. 6 manufacturers were represented in that first season. For a point each, name those manufacturers. So Connor and David, Team Porsche, who did you think was on the grid that year?
Way off here, John.
Who did we have? I think we have Maserati, Ferrari.
Yes. No, Ferrari was not on the grid in that first year.
Aston Martin.
Aston Martin.
Chevy.
Chevrolet.
Oh.
Don't think we have anyone else, do we?
Were Audi on there as well?
No, Audi were not.
Right.
Was it Nissan, Lamborghini?
Nissan
Ford?
was. It was. Maserati,
Yes.
Nissan, Ford, Lamborghini, Chevy, and Aston Martin. Well done.
Is it a point for each one you get right?
Point for each one you get right, correct.
Casual.
Andy, what were they once again?
Okay, 6 manufacturers: Maserati, Nissan, Ford, Lamborghini, Chevrolet Corvette, and Aston Martin.
Yep.
Question 3, and I'm going to address this at Team Audi, Sean and David. Blancpain were the title sponsors of SRO's GT Series for how many seasons?
Was it 7?
It was not 7.
9.
Anybody? It was 9. Well done. It was 9 between 2011 and 2019.
We were close.
Okay, question 4. I'm going to ask Mark and Matthew. Stefan Rattel's first venture into becoming a racing series organizer prior to starting SRO Motorsports. Do you know what that was?
Venturi.
It was Venturi. Yeah, the full title was the Gentleman Drivers Trophy by Venturi, but I'll take Venturi. Well done. And question 5 goes to Robert and Sean. The horsepower banding of a GT3 car. I'll take a banding or I'll take a single number. How powerful is a GT3 car?
Between 450 and 500.
Yeah, I'll probably give you that. Actually, I've got officially, according to the homologations, between 500 and 600. But if anybody's got 500 in their answer, you can have a point for that.
600. Right.
So between 500 and 600.
Good.
Question 6 will go back to the top, Gary and John. How many cars took the start at the 2019 24 Hours of Spa?
73.
Very, very close. It was actually 72. So I will give, as I said, I'll give you plus or minus 5. So any number between 67 and 77, you get a point for that. But the answer was 72. Right, Team Porsche, Connor and David. The 2019 24 Hours of Spa was under red flag conditions for rain for how long? And I'll give you plus or minus 15 minutes on this.
Like 6 hours, 30 minutes?
That's a little bit too long, actually.
We put 6 hours.
It was slightly less than that. Officially, it was red flag between 5:40 and 11:15, 5 hours and 35 minutes. So if you've got an answer of anywhere between 5 hours 20 and 5 hours 50, you can have a point for that.
Off by 10 minutes.
It was a long time.
Is that what you said?
Very cruel.
And question 8, 11 manufacturers intend to compete in the 2020 World Championship, World Challenge Europe. For a point each, name those manufacturers.
Mercedes, Audi, Ferrari, Lexus, Nissan, McLaren, Bentley, BMW, Porsche. Did I say Ford?
Honda.
Yeah.
Right, I'll give you the names that I've got because I've been through the entry list, and I think there's one name that you read out there which was incorrect.
Okay.
I've got Aston Martin, Audi, Bentley, BMW, Ferrari, Honda, Lamborghini, Lexus, McLaren, Mercedes, and Porsche.
I think we got all 11, but are we just missing
one more time? They're in different
It
order.
was Aston Martin,
Right.
Audi,
Right.
Bentley,
Uh-huh.
BMW, Ferrari, Honda, Lamborghini, Lexus, McLaren, Mercedes AMG, and Porsche.
Forgot McLaren.
Point for each.
What? 8.
And question 9, which is the last question in this round. Who's been the second most successful GT3 driver in drivers' titles terms since 2010 Johnny Adams being the first with 4 titles. Who is the second? Anybody?
Andrew Howard.
Andrew Howard with titles in 2013 and 2015. Well done. And that concludes round 4, gentlemen. So if you'd like to tot up your scores. So Gary and John, Team Orica, what do you have for that round?
13.
13. Well done. Connor and David, Team Porsche, what do you have?
Connor?
I'm not keeping up. I thought you were marking.
Apologies.
I left for a toilet break at the start of the round.
Give me 2 secs. I will.
We'll come back to that. So Team Audi,
Yeah.
Sean Cooney and David, what did you get on?
I think it's 18.
Sean Cooney and David got 18, yeah?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Brilliant. Team Ford, Mark and Matthew, what was your score?
13.
13. And Team Ferrari, Robert and Sean, what was your score?
11.
11. Okay. And Connor and David, have you got a score yet?
Yeah, we do. 16.
16. Okay, brilliant. Well, at the end of round 4 and at the halfway point, this is surprisingly close at the top, with Sean and David, Team Audi, leading on 33 points.
Oh, yes.
Team Ford, Mark and Matthew on 32 points. And Team Porsche, Connor and David on 30 points.
Oof.
So very, very close. So we've got another 45 minutes to play. I suggest we take a 5-minute break to get ourselves a cup of tea. And I will see you back at 25 past. Is that okay?
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah, that's all good.
Brilliant. See you back in a second. Cheers, guys.
I am wearing pants too, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Jesus.
Sorry? Yeah, I've had half of it. I'll the other half later. What? Yeah.
Hello, Matthew.
You all right, mate?
Are you?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, not bad.
So Robert, what'd you do? A cataract job there on your computer or what? You can see you now.
I wiped it off real good.
He's finally used up all his tear-offs.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, Sean, I know we're winning, but you don't need to showboat.
Anybody going to Sebring in November?
Sean?
No?
Where's he go? Sean?
What?
Oh, God.
That you're not really a lot I can say about that, is there, Gary?
I know how much you love that Honda.
Yeah.
Have you got those Hyco wind deflectors fitted on yours, Sean?
No.
God, I'll tell you what, I ordered some off eBay. They're not the original actual clips which have come. Has that given me some grief today?
Yeah, well, I drive so fast they just fly off anyway.
The clock has it got, Sean?
Hey?
How many miles on the clock has it got?
Just under 50.
Under 50. Oof. Wish mine had.
It's even louder now.
What, you've got another exhaust on it?
Oh, I took the cat off it.
Oh.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
It bloody does.
Wow.
Yeah.
When he goes to work.
Put it this way, don't stand behind it when I give it some because you'll get burnt.
I was about to say, has Tracy had to be admitted to hospital due to not able to hear anymore?
Hey, what'd you say?
Hey.
Wow.
Man.
It is a bit loud.
I can imagine that'll be interesting,
Annoying.
driving it all the way to Le Mans that loud.
It's not, you can control it. It's loud when you give it some. But
Okay.
if you're just sort of like poodling along, it's not too bad. It just
On part throttle, it just grumbles away, but full throttle equals full volume.
Oh yeah, full throttle, then take your foot off, and it'll wake the dead.
Yeah.
That's the answers.
Well, don't come to near where I am because I'm next to a graveyard and I don't fancy them being visiting.
But for the 4 days of work that I've done this year, the neighbours hated me when I went to work at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I fucking hated you when you went to work at 6 in the morning.
That makes all of us, Tracy.
Pardon?
That's all of us.
Works all of us.
Yeah.
The trouble with it was I was trying to be so quiet, but every time I take my foot off in first gear, it just bangs.
Like a rally
I couldn't
car.
help it.
I know, so everybody else has got to be out.
Hey, John.
Yes, mate.
No, John.
Yes.
How far do you live from Allentown?
Allentown?
Yeah.
About 15 miles south.
Wow.
You know Allentown?
A friend of mine is the manager of the baseball team there.
Oh, the Iron Pigs.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Oh,
Gary
about it.
Jones. No, talked to him yesterday.
I'll be damned. Small world.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I've known him for a long time.
I'll be darned. Very cool. I've been to the Iron Pigs game.
No, I listen to him on the internet a lot, but I've never to go up there and go up towards the Poconos and up in that area.
Yeah. I haven't been there this year yet.
Yeah.
But no, how about it? Yep. So,
Yeah.
well, if you get up, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. 25 past. Are we good to go again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
go. Yep.
See you later, Robert.
Okay. I think we've probably got time for 3 more rounds to hit the 9 o'clock finish time.
Okay.
So the next round is about Formula One drivers who have raced in sports cars. So here we go. Question 1, Christian Fittipaldi. Christian Fittipaldi contested 3 seasons in Formula One, 92, 93 with Minardi and 94 with Footwork. How many times has Christian Fittipaldi competed at the 24 Hours of Le Mans?
It's a tricky one.
So Fittipaldi, 3 seasons in Formula One, 92, 93 with Minardi, 94 with Footwork. How many times did he compete at Le Mans? Question 2. Jan Lammers contested 5 seasons in Formula One, 79, 80, 81, 82 and 92. He drove at Le Mans on 24 occasions, but has only 1 win at Le Safre. With which team did he take his sole win with?
Do you want the chassis number?
For a bonus point.
Oh.
And tyre pressures.
Can I have the bore and stroke, please, for my records?
How many gears he finished with?
We know the answer with that one, don't we, Sean?
Yes, we do, mate.
Now the starting and finishing weights, please.
Well, the drivers.
plus drivers, all of them.
I thought you meant the weight of the driver.
Question 3. Bruno Senna, who finished 4th at the 2019 Le Mans, drove for 3 Formula One teams. For 1 point each, can you name them? So that's the 3 Formula One teams that Bruno Senna drove for. Question 4. Kamui Kobayashi drove in Formula One for 5 seasons. How many times has he finished 2nd at Le Mans? How many times has Kamui Kobayashi finished 2nd at Le Mans?
Is that class or overall?
That is overall. Question 5. Jag Magnussen drove for Stewart and I believe McLaren in Formula One.
Yep.
He's well known for his loyalty to Chevrolet and his 16 participations at Le Mans with Corvette in its various iterations. However, he has also driven for 2 other manufacturers at Le Mans. For 1 point each, can you name them? And these were late 90s, early 2000s.
Manufacturers, yeah?
Yeah. Question 6. 2014 WEC champion Anthony Davidson drove for 2 seasons in Formula One with Super Aguri. For 1 point, who was his teammate? Question 7. Henri Pescarolo drove for 8 seasons in Formula One between 1968 and 1976. With which driver did Pescarolo take his first victory at Le Mans? With which driver did Henri Pescarolo take his first victory at Le Mans? Question 8. Mario Andretti was Formula One world champion in 1978. In 1982, Mario and son Michael were famously removed from the starting grid at Le Mans for a component that was incorrectly situated on their Mirage. What was that component? It led to an almighty row on the start line at Le Mans.
Sorry, can you repeat that, please, again, Andy?
Absolutely. In 1982, Mario Andretti and son Michael were famously removed from the starting grid at Le Mans due to being disqualified for a component that was incorrectly situated on their Mirage. What was that component? And question 9, Jenson Button. 2009 Formula One world champion Jenson Button drove for SMP Racing in the 2018-19 World Endurance Championship. In July 2019, he and his wife Brittany welcomed their son into the world. What was the name they chose for their son? And as a clue,
Really?
It was a guitarist.
It was a what?
Oh, yeah.
It was a guitarist.
So it was.
Limits it down to like 1,000.
Can you repeat the question again, please, Andy? Sorry.
Yeah, no problem at all. In July 2019, Jenson Button and his wife, Brittany, welcomed their son into the world. What was the name they chose for their son? And as a clue, he was named after a guitarist. And bizarrely, I don't appear to have a 10th question in this round. I don't know where that's gone to. So there's only 9 questions in that round. So we'll start the marking and we'll start with Gary and John at Team Orica. So Christian Fittipaldi, how many times did he compete at Le Mans?
We're going with 0.
That is not correct.
3.
Anybody? 3.
Yeah.
For a point.
Oh, what a guess.
That was our second
Years
one.
were they, Gary?
Well done.
Yeah.
What years were they?
14.
No, much earlier.
Gary, you said 3, huh?
Was it in the mid 2000s roughly?
Yeah, it was 2006, 7, and 8. He drove for Team Modena, and
Was he not in the Saline one year?
he was. In fact, he was in the Saline for 2 years, 2006 and 2007, and an Aston Martin in 2008. So the answer was 3.
Just pure guess, John.
Sorry, Gary.
Jan Lammers. With which team did Jan Lammers take his sole Le Mans win with? Connor and David, any idea?
Pure guess from us, Van Merkstein.
Oh no.
Really?
Van Merkstein.
Oh
Pure
no.
guess.
No.
Oh, you idiot.
Hang your head in shame.
Oh.
Go on. Anybody?
Jaguar.
Jaguar. Tom Walkinshaw Racing Silk Cut Jaguar, 1988.
We're winners.
Hey.
Question 3. This goes to Team Audi, Sean and David. Bruno Senna finished 4th at the 2019 Le Mans, drove for 3 different Formula One teams. Who were they?
Williams, Lotus, and HRT.
Correct. Williams in 2012, Lotus 2011, HRT in 2010.
Would it not have been Renault in that year?
Shut up, you.
Just
Renault?
picking, just nitpicking.
They were Lotus then, mate.
Correct. So what was it? One more time, Andy. What was the answer?
Okay. The answers were Hispania Racing or HRT, Lotus Renault,
Williams,
and Williams in 2012.
Okay.
And question 4 goes to Mark and Matthew. How many times has Kamui Kobayashi finished 2nd at Le Mans?
I reckon 3.
You think 3?
That is correct.
Oh.
Yeah.
2?
2000. No, it was 3. Well, this is what I've got. 2016, 18, and 19. He was 2nd. Question 5 goes to Robert and Sean for an answer. Jan Magnussen drove for 2 other manufacturers at Le Mans outside of Corvette. Can you name them?
Panos for 1.
Which one?
Panos.
Panos for 1 point.
Audi.
Yeah.
Robert,
And
you got an idea on the
Audi.
other one?
it was Audi.
Audi.
In 2002. Audi Sport Team Go in 2002. So question 6 goes back up to Team Orica, Gary and John. 2014 WC champion Anthony Davidson drove for Super Aguri. Who was his teammate for those 2 seasons?
Takuma Sato?
Takuma Sato. Well done.
Pulled that one out.
Question 7 goes to Connor and David, Team Porsche. With which driver did Henri Pescarolo take his first victory at Le Mans?
I think it was with Graham Hill.
It was with Graham Hill in 1972 in the Matra. Well done.
Yes.
Question 8 goes to, I've lost track now, Robert and Sean again. Anybody for an answer?
Kind of a decal.
Mario Andretti and Michael were removed from the starting grid of the 1982 Le Mans for an incorrectly situated component. What was that component?
It's a decal on the car.
No. Anybody?
Oil
The
cooler.
oil tank.
It was an oil, yeah, oil. I'll say oil cooler or oil tank. It was an oil component that was situated behind the gearbox that got them thrown out. And question 9: what was the name of Jenson Button's son?
Hendricks.
Hendricks, yeah.
Hendricks. You're right.
Whoa.
And for a bonus point, what was his second name?
Jimmy.
No.
That was his dad, wasn't it? John?
He was after his dad, Jonathan.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Is that a point?
Okay. I'll give you a point for that if you've got it. Yeah. Okay. So tot up your points, gentlemen, for that round. So Team Orica, Gary and John, did you score on that round?
4.
4. Connor and David, Team Porsche?
We got 9.
9 points. Well done. Sean and David, Team Audi?
8.
8. Team Ford, Mark and Matthew?
10.
Wow.
10 points. Well done. And Team Ferrari, Robert and Sean, what did you score?
9.
9, okay.
I think
you're
we're
rich
watching- this
down
is
Okay, but it's still very, very close at the top. Mark and Matthew lead by a single point on 42. Sean and David Team Audi second on 41. And Connor and David in Team Porsche on 39.
Andy, the important thing is how close are we on the bottom?
Okay, well, Sean and Robert Team Ferrari are on 31 points, and Gary and John Team Orica are on 29 points.
All right, we're close, Gary. We got a shot.
Put him in the top gear now, John.
We're looking for a lot.
Right. There is a chance.
Okay, the next round is a picture round, which I just need to get set up, and then I will share it onto the screen so you all can see it. So, okay. Some of these are very easy, and some of these are a bit trickier. So I'm going to share picture one now.
Matthew Pigg.
Sean Randall.
That's what I'm seeing anyway.
What you see? Okay. Hold on a second.
I see everything.
Right.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, we can see now.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Pick 1 to 10.
Do we click on it or what?
No, I don't know what I'm doing here. Hold on 2 seconds. Let's try this one again.
Bob Wallach.
Lord
Mr.
Lucan.
Dean.
Oh God. Oh God. Randall.
One of these pictures is going to be Ian in a mankini or something, isn't it?
Just make sure you put the right pictures on there, Andy.
Like holiday photographs.
Right, okay. Okay, I think this is the first one. So,
yeah,
seen a picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is one.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at, Sean?
I've just sent the answer to Robert, and with predictive text, you want to see what it's come out as.
Reveal at the end.
This is picture two. These are all team owners, team principals, or team managers. This is picture two. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
I know. I've done some photography work for him.
Thanks, Matt. Because I was in two minds then. You just given it to me.
Okay, that was picture two. This is picture three.
What do you got, Gary?
Nice.
That was picture three.
Predictive text.
This is picture four.
Ooh.
That was picture four. This is picture five.
Yeah.
Right.
That was picture 5. This is picture 6. That was picture 6. Picture 7. Picture 7.
You go back to picture 7, Andy. Was that
Yeah.
too much of a pain in the arse?
No problem. Not at all. Not at all. Sorry, I just lose this one and then I'll go back. Okay.
Sorry, mate.
No, not a problem. Picture 7. Picture 7.
I'll put that down, then, shall I? I've got to put down he's very good looking, whoever he is, apparently.
How by you, Mr. Randall?
Hey?
You're not having a how by you, Mr. Randall?
Will that help? I can think of another word beginning with H.
I think the only help he's getting is a rating out of 10.
Picture 8 you've already seen, but this is picture 8.
Yep.
Picture 9 is probably more familiar to those on the IMSA side of things, and this picture was taken a few years ago, I think.
Okay. I'll tell you what track that is in the background.
Yeah, that's still the old standard Daytona.
Can we get a point if we do the track?
No.
I've been round it.
That was picture 9 and picture 10. An oldie but goodie. And that is it. Would anybody like to see any of those pictures again? We moved to that quite quickly.
Yeah, number 9, please, Andy.
Number 9.
You threw us a bone. I got no idea. Looks like a porn star mustache.
I don't know which ones you've been watching, Robert.
Okay, I'll chuck you a clue. Finished fourth in the GTD class at Daytona this year with Patrick Long, Ryan Hardwick, Alexandra Imperato, and Klaus Backler.
I still don't know.
Oh. oh, yeah.
Have you got it, John?
Probably not.
Hey, Gary, what do you think?
Let me confer with my mate.
Finished fourth. Yeah. Yeah, we remember those guys.
Okay, so let's move through this round. So, picture one was a fairly obvious one that I'm sure we all know.
We gave it Doc Ulrich.
Yeah.
That is Wolfgang Ulrich.
Right.
You're right there, Gary.
Yeah. Yes.
Number two.
We've got nothing.
Who got that?
Sam Hignett.
That is Sam Hignett of Jota. Yeah, my old boss.
Thanks, Matthew. Cheers, mate.
Help you out, Sean.
I thought it was, but then you just confirmed it.
Give a clue,
nice work as well.
Right, number three. Anybody got any ideas?
John McWhirter.
Jim McWhirter.
Jim McWhirter, yeah. But McWhirter, I'll give you a point for McWhirter.
Don't give him a point.
Of JMW Motorsport.
That's annoying. Now I've just saw the JMW on the hat.
How did I miss that?
Yeah.
He's a Northern Irishman, for God's sake.
And number four. Anybody?
I'm going to have a guess at one of the Greaves boys, but I don't know.
Tim Greaves.
No.
Nick Damon.
No, it's definitely not Nick Damon.
That is the youthful visage of Peter Barron of Starworks Motorsports, who's been around a lot longer than you might think, actually, and still looks very young. So that is who that is.
You know, there's
Number
probably clues
five.
in all of these that we're missing.
Number five, anybody?
You, Robert?
Yeah, the guy that went to jail, he drove, he was the American Le Mans Series guy, and he went to jail because he was like ripping people off.
He did loans.
Yep.
Scott Tucker.
Scott Tucker. That was Scott Tucker of level 5 Motorsports.
Does that count?
Spot on, Robert.
Come on, John, don't give us that one, mate.
Can we count that as a win, knowing who he was? But
thumbs up from Sean. That'll do for that one.
Who's a scumbag?
Number 6. He was a scumbag.
Yeah.
Number 6. Anybody got this?
I put Andy Lally, but
Enzo Potolicchio.
No.
No.
I recognise it, but I just cannot think of his name.
That is Dragon Speed's Elton Julian.
Oh, that's why I recognise it.
I thought it was Vin Diesel.
In your dream, Sean.
No, not really.
Number 7. is the Mediterranean good looks of. Anybody got that?
Okay.
That is Gottfried Grasser of GRT Grasser, the most successful Lamborghini team prior to FFF Orange One Racing.
Don't fancy himself, doesn't he?
He does.
All I heard in the background from Sean there was "whoa."
It wasn't from me. I can assure you of that.
I did say in the background.
And number 8, that's a famous face.
Doug Feehan.
That's Doug Feehan. Doug Feehan of Corvette Racing. Yeah.
Of course it is. Robert.
It's another one he had of Corvette lanyard on. Big giveaway.
This one I think has probably flummoxed a lot of people, and it actually is somebody who you very, very rarely see the face of.
Good.
This is John Wright of Wright Motorsports. So quite a famous name, but a person that you very rarely hear interviewed.
What it was, it wasn't.
Never saw him before.
I had his surname when you said the drivers. But
yeah, I thought
wouldn't have known his first name.
And the last one, number 10, as played by Ronald Lee Hunt in the Le Mans film. That is anybody?
John Wire.
That is John Wire of JW Automotive. Yeah, well done. Good. Okay. Excellent. So let me collect some scores from you, please. So Gary and John, Team Orica, what did you score in that round?
We're going to take 3.
3. Okay. And Connor and David, Team Porsche.
2.
2. I thought you'd get loads of those. Right. Team Audi, Sean and David, what did you get in that round?
3.
3. And Mark and Matthew, Team Ford.
6.
6. Well done. And Robert and Sean, Team Ferrari.
5.
5. Okay. So it looks like Mark and Matthew are starting to pull out a bit of a lead at the top now on 48 points, followed by Sean and David on 44 and Connor and David on 41. So I think we will, as we've hit 9 o'clock, I think we'll do one more round as it's still very close at the top. So let me just have a quick look at my...
Close are we at the bottom?
Not over yet, John.
We do get valuable prizes, right?
A lovely wooden spoon.
Right, okay, the final round is on the Stuttgart manufacturer, Porsche.
I still see John Wire on my screen. Anybody else?
Yeah, no, okay, that's me, that's my fault.
Ah, there we go.
That's better.
People
Okay, brilliant. So here we go, 10 questions on Porsche. Okay, question 1. For 1 point for each answer, this is a 3 possible answers, or 3 answers in this question. When did Porsche take their first overall win at Le Mans, and who were the drivers? So when did they take their first overall win, and who were the drivers? Question 2. Derek Bell won at the Circuit de la Sarthe on 5 occasions, 4 of those with Porsche in 81, 82, 86 and 87. In those races, he drove with 3 different teammates. For 1 point each, name those teammates. So it was the drivers who drove alongside Derek Bell when he won at Le Mans with Porsche. Question 3. The Porsche RS Spider made its race debut at Laguna Seca in 2005, entered by Penske. 2 drivers from the then Porsche Junior factory team were selected to drive it. For a point each, who were those drivers? So it was 2 drivers from the Porsche Junior factory team in 2005 drove the Porsche RS Spider at its race debut in 2005 at Laguna Seca.
Could you repeat the question again, please, Andy?
Yeah. The Porsche RS Spider made its race debut at Laguna Seca in 2005, entered by Penske Racing. 2 drivers from the then Porsche Junior factory team were selected to drive it. For a point each, who were those 2 drivers? Question 4. 2 drivers who drove the Porsche 919 Hybrid between 2014 and 2017 at Le Mans also drove the Porsche RS Spider between 2005 and 2010. Can you name those drivers? So it was 2 contemporary drivers who drove the 919 Hybrid between 2014 and 2017. Were also part of the Porsche RS Spider program between 2005 and 2010. For 1 point each, who were those drivers? Question 5. Porsche factory driver and 2018 LMGTE Drivers' Champion Kevin Estre has represented the Stuttgart manufacturer as a works driver since 2017. Prior to that, he was a factory driver for which manufacturer? So Kevin Estre has been a Porsche works driver since 2017. Prior to that, which manufacturer did he drive for?
It's additional on pain.
Question 6. In the 2019 IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, Porsche won the drivers' titles, the team standings, and the manufacturers' titles in the GT/LM category. Out of the 11 rounds, how many overall victories did the 911 and 912 crews take? Class victories.
Which year, sorry, again?
Right, 2019 IMSA. Porsche won the drivers, the teams, and the manufacturers' titles in the GT/LM category. How many class wins out of the 11 rounds did the 911 and 912 crews take between them? Question 7. Also in 2019, Porsche took a surprising overall victory in the rain at Monza in the opening round of the Blancpain GT series. For 1 point each, can you name the team and any of the 3 drivers? So this was the opening round of the Blancpain GT Series 2019. It was a wet race at Monza, and a Porsche took a surprising overall victory. Can you name the team and any of the 3 drivers? Question 8. In the heyday of the Porsche 962, for the 1991 24 Hours of Le Mans, how many Porsche 962s were on the starting grid? And I'll give you a point for plus or minus 1. So,
91.
How many Porsche 962s were on the starting grid of the 91 24 Hours of Le Mans? Question 9. Name the driver who, after 10 years with one manufacturer, switched to Porsche in 2017. He was a driver who was closely aligned with another manufacturer for 10 years, and he switched to Porsche slightly controversially in 2017. And the final question in the final round, question 10. In the 1971 film Le Mans, Michael Delaney starts the race in one Porsche 917 and finishes it in another. For 1 point each, what are the race numbers of the 2 cars? So he starts in one, crashes it, and he finishes it in another. For 1 point each, what are the race numbers of the 2 cars? It's the final round. It's quite close at the top. Anybody want any of those questions again? Okay. So let's go straight into the marking. So, Gary and John.
Yes.
When did Porsche take their first overall win at Le Mans, and who were the drivers? 1 point each.
Gary, what do you got?
Nothing, mate. It's over to you.
A long time ago. 1965.
It was not 1965.
I didn't think it was.
Anybody else?
1970.
It was 1970, and the 2 drivers were?
I don't know the drivers.
Richard Atwood.
How about Hans Herman and Dickie Atwood?
You're right. It was Hans Herman and Richard Atwood in 1970 for 1 point each.
I got the drivers. I got the year wrong.
Brilliant. So, question 2, Connor and David, Team Porsche. Derek Bell, of his 4 Porsche victories, 81, 82, 86, 87, he drove with 3 different teammates. For 1 point each, can you name those teammates?
Was Jackie X one of them?
Jackie X was 81 and 82.
I don't have anything else here. Unless you
anybody else? Anybody else of the second 2 drivers, 86 and 87?
Hans Stuck and Al Holbert.
Yes, Al Holbert and Hans Stuck, 86 and 87. Well done.
Is that it? No other guys?
No, that's all he drove with in Porsche. Okay. Question 3 goes to Sean and David, Team Audi, for an answer. Who were the 2 drivers from the then Porsche Junior factory team selected to race in the Porsche RS Spider on its debut at Laguna Seca in 2005? One became very synonymous with this car and was very successful with it.
Oh, I wasn't sure about this in the next one, so I went with Pat Long and Jörg Bergmeister on this one. I've got a feeling Timo Bernhardt's one of them.
Yep.
Anybody else?
Glock. Timo Glock?
No.
Sasha Masson.
Sasha Masson was one, and the other was?
Timo Bernhard.
No. Lucas Luhr.
Oh.
Lucas Luhr, who went on to have a very successful career in the RS Spider. So, question 4. I'm going to ask Mark and Matthew for an answer on this one. 2 drivers who drove the 919 hybrid between 2014 and 17 also drove the Spider in 2005 to 2010. For a point each, can you name those drivers?
Timo Bernhard
was one, definitely. And the other?
And Roman Dumas.
Roman Dumas. Well done. Roman Dumas, Timo Bernhard. Question 5. I'm going to go to Team Ferrari, Robert and Sean, for an answer. Porsche factory driver, 2018 LMGT driver champion Kevin Estre has driven for Porsche since 2017. Prior to that, he was a factory driver for which manufacturer?
Audi.
No.
Mercedes.
No.
Aston Martin.
No. The answer was he was a McLaren factory driver in 2014 to 2015. Okay, we'll go back to the top to Gary and John for an answer to question 6. So the 2019 IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, Porsche just demolished the GTLM category. Out of the 11 rounds, how many overall victories, class victories, did the 911 and 912 crews take?
9.
Wasn't 9.
I guess 6.
It was 6.
Oh.
It was
Woohoo!
6. Well, the 911 car won at Sebring, Watkins Glen and VIR, and the 912 won at Long Beach, Mid-Ohio and Mosport.
They won 6 straight, didn't they?
Okay, so Connor and David for question 7. 2019, the opening round of the Blancpain GT Series as a rain-soaked Monza. A Porsche took the overall victory. Who was the team and who were the drivers?
We got nothing for this, unfortunately.
Yeah,
No?
we've got nothing.
Anybody?
Amber and Tandy.
It was not.
Dynamic Racing, wasn't it?
Team GPX.
It was not actually. It was Dynamic or Dynamic Motorsport that nobody'd ever heard of. Klaus Bachler, Andrea Rizzoli, and Zayed Ashkanani took a reign as a topsy-turvy, the win of the topsy-turvy last hour.
How were we supposed to get that?
Because it was quite a memorable victory actually for that first round.
Obviously not for any of us.
Okay, question 8. 5. I'm going to go to Team Ford, Mark and Matthew for an answer on this one. How many Porsche 962s were on the starting grid of the 1991 24 Hours of Le Mans? There were loads of them.
I reckon 12.
Okay, well, I'm going to give it with sort of plus or minus 1, and 12 is not within that range. Anybody else?
I guess
16.
14.
Said 14.
Okay, well, the answer was in fact 15. So if you've got 14, 15, or 16, you can have a point for that.
10.
Question 9, I'm going to go to Robert and Sean for an answer on this. Who was the driver after 10 years with one manufacturer, switched to Porsche in 2017?
Jimmy Bruni.
Jimmy Bruni, that's right. Drove for Ferrari between 2007 2016 and had to sit out the first half of 2017. And the final question of the 2020 Sports Car Worldwide Easter quiz. I'm going to go to Team Orica, Gary and John, for an answer to this. The 1971 film Le Mans, Michael Delaney starts the race in one Porsche 917 and finishes it in another. For a point each, what are the race numbers of the two cars?
22.
Yeah.
Nope.
How about
I'll give you a point. I'll give you a point for 20. He actually finishes the race. He finishes the race in the 21 car.
That was my second choice.
Yeah. Right, gentlemen, if you could.
John, can they see that?
I knew that. Anyway,
guys, if you could just tot up your points for that, please. So, Team Orica, Gary and John, what did you get in that round?
5.
5?
We did
okay.
well.
Connor and David, Team Porsche?
7.
7 points. Sean and David, Team Audi?
Yeah, 7 as well.
7. Team Ford, Mark and Matthew?
11.
Wow.
Oh, dominating performance there. And Robert and Sean, Team Ferrari?
12.
Wow.
12 points. Nice. Okay, well.
Brilliant.
Okay, well, that concludes, and actually it was remarkably close. The winners were Mark and Matthew on 59 points. Very well done. In second place, Sean and David, Team Audi on 51.
Yes.
In joint third place, sharing the last of the podium positions, was Team Ferrari, Robert and Sean, and Team Porsche, Connor and David. And bringing up the rear, Team Orica, Gary and John on 37 points.
Come on, guys.
Well,
we turn our scores in honestly, right, Gary?
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you very much for taking part. I had a lot of fun in writing those questions, and I hope you enjoyed taking part.
Thank you very much indeed, Andy.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andy.
Brilliant.
My pleasure entirely, and I hope we can do it all again at some stage in the future.
Andy, when's the next one? When's the next
Hey
one?
guys, let's all stay safe, man.
I'll liaise with Ian. I will happily run them as regularly as the group would like, but I'll liaise with Ian and we'll work out a date for another one.
Yeah, let's all stay safe as well, yeah?
Indeed.
Yes, sir.
Guys, thank you, Gary. Thanks, everybody. Cheers for now.
Thanks, guys.
See you. Bye-bye.
Take care,
Just hands.
Anybody going to Sebring in November?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Would be nice. Yeah,
Maybe.
would be.
I'll think about it.
Robert, you going to Sebring in November?
No, I have a Germany trip planned.